Hello everybody, Mike here. If you're a fan of Sly Cooper like I am, then I'm sure you're all aware that today marks his 20th anniversary. The thieving raccoon has snuck his way into all of our hearts, and many of us have shared fond memories with him growing up, ever since the release of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus on September 23rd, 2002. The original trilogy on the PlayStation 2 has become one of the greatest series of games on the console, rivaling that of Jak and Daxter and Ratchet & Clank. But Sly has always had a special charm that fans remembered long after the epic finale. While the fourth game is still a divisive topic, you have those who like it and those who hate it, but it's still a shame that this will now be seen as the conclusion to the franchise, as Sucker Punch recently announced that the series is now dormant indefinitely. While many fan projects pop up from time to time, it's clear that people still care about Sly and want to see his next grand adventure. While he might not get a return anytime soon, I still want to celebrate his legacy by discussing my top 5 favorite lesser-known secrets about the games. Number 5. Cut Sly 4 ideas. In the early stages of production for Sly 4, Sanzaru had a few really ambitious ideas for gameplay elements. In an old pitch called Time Bandits, which I will link below, there were plans to feature racing, specifically at the beginning when Murray joins the Grand Prix. There was a small track used for demonstration, which might have been intended for more of a demolition derby, but I still wish that something like this had been included in-game. The demo shows how motion controls would be implemented to steer the truck, and that acceleration would be handled using the rear touchscreen to accommodate the PS Vita, or at least a prototype of it. Another ambitious feature was the use of an online mode. There were plans to feature co-op during some missions, but it actually went further than that. Players had the ability to build their own hazard room and construct a series of elaborate traps to protect their treasure. Other players could invade your hazard room, and if they managed to get to the end, they would receive a prize. There was also a social media system planned that revealed who stole from who and whether or not they succeeded. If a player failed the course, the site would update how they died by means such as electrocution. In addition to that, a bunch of concept art was shown that discussed 2 cut levels that never made it into development. The first was a level set in Transylvania where the gang would go on a Scooby-Doo-like mission in a Dracula castle, only to find that the vampire was just a vegetarian fruit bat. This was further explained by Sanzaru employee Matt Kramer, who said that this was a planned level for a Sly game called Network of Thieves. Obviously, this never went through development, but the Dracula castle was one of the main levels, where the bat was actually named Dr. Mortimer. The second was titled Creature from the Black Lagoon, and was set in a treacherous swamp where the gang had to fight an intelligent tadpole who was in control of a massive alligator. Both of these concepts are fine on their own, but they really don't fit in with the world of Sly. If anything, they seem more in place in Sam and Max. Overall, it's a shame that a lot of these elements never made it into the game, since it would have been cool to see how they would work. The simple reason why these concepts were dropped was mostly due to the team focusing on Thieves in Time. Number 4. Venice Police Coffee Shop. In Sly 2, I always liked being able to return to the interior spaces in the hub worlds. It really opened up the world for more exploration, and made them feel more alive once all the objectives were finished. While this was removed in Sly 3, there was one interior space left in for the player to revisit, although its door is in the wrong place. If you approach the front door of the police station in Venice, you can open the door, but you end up inside the coffee shop on the opposite side of the plaza. You might think this is a glitch, but it was actually something left over from a beta build of the game. It turns out that the police station was where the coffee shop was originally located, and the interior space was the same. It's likely that this was just a placeholder, but Sucker Punch probably just forgot to move the entry point after the mission. I do recommend checking out the beta build of the level, because there are a lot of small but interesting changes, such as Octavio's goofy original design, and the fact that Murray was supposed to defend Sly as opposed to Bentley during the boss fight. Number 3. Interior Treasures. While we're on the subject of interior spaces, in Sly 2, the player was originally supposed to find special treasures inside some of the buildings just like they could in the hub world. In the alpha build of the game, only the first 3 levels were playable, and there were many stands featured inside the buildings, although some of the treasures were not yet implemented. In Paris, I'm sure some fans have wondered why there are so many upstairs areas that are accessible to the player, but devoid of any gameplay. Even the doors are functional, but they only allow access to an overhead view of some of the rooms. This is the reason why. They were originally intended to house these secret treasures. The most interesting deleted treasure I found was in episode 3. When Sly has to bug Rajons' office with a literal bug, you might remember the safe in the back where you get the voltage attack gadget. Originally, there was a large safe door in its place that would open up to reveal a small room with a treasure and a cobra basket, as well as some nice-looking particle effects. In the final version of the game, if you manage to clip the camera outside the wall, you'll see that this room was removed, although the cobra is still there floating in the void. Number 2. The items in Rajons' guest house were owned. In episode 2 of Sly 2, there is a mission where Sly needs to ransack the guest house in order to find a tuxedo which he needs to enter the ballroom. In the alpha build of the game, the items that you would recover were originally listed as owned by the other attendees. You would find Rajons' shoes, which was already obvious in the final release, but the other items included Carmelita's gloves, Arpeggio's bow tie, the Contessa's shirt, and the tuxedo jacket belonged to a Jean Cretin. It can be assumed that this was Jean Bisson's original name. Yeah, because they're both clearly the same jacket size. It's also worth noting that since the first 3 levels were playable in the alpha build, Jean Bisson doesn't even appear. During the recon mission in the ballroom, you could see Rajon like before, who now dons a cape, but Dimitri also shows up, even though this breaks continuity. I have a theory that he was only used as a placeholder for Bisson, which is probably why he makes the same grunting sounds as Dimitri when Sly or Bentley strike him in the final build. Also, you might be wondering about the cutscene that plays during the first dance with Neela.
That fellow is very graceful.
If only you moved spice shipments as well.
Silence!
Well, there's a much different scene that plays out. Here, Rajon can be seen talking to Carmelita where he says, "I don't like him," to which Carmelita asks, "What's not to like?" Rajon claims that Sly is up to something, and Carmelita says, "So are you." Like an undercover cop would totally say that to the person she's investigating. If you're interested in cut content from early builds, I recommend checking out the series of videos on Gao's channel, which I will link below. And number 1, Murray was originally written to be a questionably gay character. I know that sounds like a really tasteless joke, but I swear it's true. When Chris Murphy was first cast as Murray, he was told that the character was written to be questioning, or possibly bisexual. When he read his lines in an exaggerated lisp, focus test groups did not understand the reasoning and brushed it off as a bad Barney impression. After Chris re-recorded his lines to represent Murray how he is today, Sucker Punch almost did not recast him for Sly 2, but thankfully went with the decision to bring him back and give a new voice to the character. You can actually still hear the original voice lines in earlier builds of the game, although only episodes 1 and 2 were voiced, with some dialogue undergoing several small changes.
Murray, what are you doing down there?
Well, my stomach was growling, and it got so loud, I thought maybe something at this hot dog stand might quiet it down. But then, next thing you know, these dogs offered to race me for a key.
Key? We need that thing. Think you could pull it off?
Well, I have to go 3 laps around this course.
You can beat them, big guy. We need that key. Don't forget, you can use the X button for a boost of nitro acceleration.
Okie dokie.
Murray, what's going on down there?
Well, I drove to this hot dog stand for a quick snack, and the next thing you know, I'm getting challenged to a race by these gangster dogs.
Is there a key in it for the winner?
Yeah, 3 times around the track for a key.
It's all you, man. Drive the van with the left analog stick, and if you manage to pick up any nitro power-ups, you can get a boost by pressing the square button. Go get them!
I'm on it!
And those are my favorite discoveries about the series. Let me know if there's anything you found and share it down below. For a small series from the PlayStation 2, it has stood the test of time for the most part, as fans continue to look back on it and stream it to this day. While I do respect Sucker Punch, and I look forward to their next project, I still hope Sly Cooper returns someday soon. Either that or Prophecy. Seriously, that would have been a cool game. What happened? Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think. Take care.